Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So, Amazon Prime is going downhill. Yes, that's right. Big proclamation, but it's the truth. And I point to Exhibit A being the BBC for that. Why? Because Amazon Prime has now hired the exact same reason behind the BBC's downfall to work for Amazon Prime. Yes, that's right, ladies and gents. So let's dive into this. And you can all delete Amazon Prime or whatever, do whatever you want with it, I guess. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, Amazon Prime's been downhill for a while anyway, because look at Lord of the Rings. I agree, but it's going to get worse. And like I say, this is literally the reason. So Amazon Prime Video signs BBC diversity boss Miranda Wayland. Now, just want to throw this out there. Representation and diversity, it's not bad. I don't think anyone really cares, to be fair. Like, it's not bad at all. The problem is how it's implemented. And the BBC has a track record from this individual of doing it horrendously. Right? We can all... most of you can agree with that, right? Okay, most of you can. So, yeah, this is not going to be the good news that I guess that they're hoping for. Because they're like, oh, look at this announcement. No, this is shithouse news. Like, real bad. I mean, she's basically... destroyed the BBC. The BBC's hated across the UK, more so than it's ever been. And you guys in the States might not understand this, but in the UK, it's thought that you must pay for a TV license. It's basically thought that it's a poll tax. You don't actually have to have a TV license, ladies and gents, in the UK. You only have to have it if you want to watch the BBC. And millions of people have been stopping purchasing their TV license in the UK because they're sick of the BBC's crap. So that's how bad the BBC's got under her watch, as well as obviously other people in charge. But she's to blame as well. And now Amazon Prime has hired her. Not the best news at all, in fact. Like, pretty bad. So, yeah, let's take a look, shall we? Amazon Prime Video has hired the BBC head of creative diversity, Miranda Wayland, to oversee the streamer's diversity strategy in Europe. Now, again, that's important, like creative. It's representation in front of the camera and behind the camera. It is exactly what she was doing before, right? And destroyed the BBC. The BBC's credibility is in tatters. It is an awful, awful institution now. Everyone, nine times out of 10, people hate the BBC. It does not represent the thought process of the UK populace. It doesn't represent the UK populace. The BBC in the UK became very London-centric. And if you've ever been to the UK, London's not a representation of the UK at all, in fact. It's this weird little micro... And I've lived in London, so I do know this for a fact. And I've lived in, the arsehole of nowhere as well, right? London's like this strange little microcosm in the UK, and it's a great place. Like, I love living in London, but I wouldn't want to live there forever. And to say London's a representative city for the UK is completely wrong. And the BBC became very London-centric. It became very middle to upper class Londoners, uni, kids just out of uni, and very... I mean, the whole joke was that The Guardian was kept in business because the BBC bought The Guardian, basically. That was the joke, and that is very representative. Guardian's a typically left-wing media outlet, etc. So that sort of explains it, hopefully. And yes, this individual's now been hired by Amazon Studios. So Wayland becomes head of Europe. Diversity, fantastic for Amazon Studios and Prime Video. Report onto Amazon Studios head of what is it? What does this even stand for? Diversity, something, and inclusion. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. DI, basically. Latasha Gillespie. She'll deliver programs across Europe designed to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah, so it's DI. It's diversity, inclusion, and equity. It's probably the worst. Was it like an anagram? It's just awful. What an awful abbreviation. And, you're going to be delivering programs designed specifically to increase diversity. And again, remember, ladies and gents, this is what she did, right? BBC, when she was head of diversity at BBC, Wayland was similarly responsible for driving the strategy to better reflect the country in its entirety. And she objectively failed, right? It's not subjective. She objectively failed. Okay, she objectively failed in that task. You represented London. You represented the immediate surroundings you had. I'm hitting the desk because I'm annoyed. You're an idiot. You destroyed the BBC. And this is another case of someone failing up. I'm so sick of these people being rewarded for shit. Millions of people have stopped paying their TV licence because they don't like the BBC anymore. And this absolute douche canoe, we'll stop hitting the table now, has been hired. Promotion. Rewarded. Loads of people. Millions of people. So much so that the BBC's like, oh, please, government, force people to pay for their TV licence. Anyway, so the former ITV and BBC Studios diversity lead worked closely with June Sarpong, who, oh my god, if you don't know anything about June Sarpong, Jesus, this was an old children's TV host that suddenly randomly became like head of diversity, basically. The corporation's director of creative diversity. She worked like 2 days a week and got like 200 odd grand a year. I'll tell you what, mate, it's a good grift. If you can get it, it's a good grift. That's 2 days a week, 200 odd grand or whatever it was. Fuck me. That's a good old grift, that is, isn't it? Can you imagine that? And her role was expanded around 6 months ago to take on Anne Foster's internal diversity and inclusion responsibilities following Foster's departure. So she's one of 3 senior black female executives to have left the BBC recently, according to a report in the Times. Who cares whether they're black or white? It doesn't matter. The BBC is incredibly left-wing woke. So the fact that they're black and they've left the BBC literally means nothing. That's a very strange... read between the lines, you know what they're implying here, and it's just complete nonsense. So Amazon recently rolled out an inclusion policy and playbook, which sets standards on its products, productions in areas such as representation, creative roles, pay equity, casting and commissioning from suppliers owned by women or people from ethnic minority backgrounds. So that playbook is now being adapted by some of its teams in Europe. UK TV Trade Broadcast first reported Amazon's Wayland's hire. And this thing is awful as well. Amazon Studios inclusion policy and playbook. And this is like, what? So check this out, right? This is what they're going to be doing. They're going downhill, right? They are. This kind of stuff does not drive creativity. Each film or series with a creative team of 3 or more people in above-the-line roles, so directors, writers or producers, should ideally include a minimum 30% women and 30% members of an underrepresented racial ethnic group. Well, who decides what that is? I mean, it's never... what? Is it going to be Romanians? I have not heard of many Romanians in, directors and producers. I mean, it's not... Well, it's not really... no, Slavs. Slavic. Racial ethnic. Maybe. But anyway, my point is, right, this aspirational goal will increase to 50% by 2024. I don't see many Japanese people working for Amazon. Casting actors whose identity, gender and gender identity, nationality, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, disability aligns with the character they will be playing. Basically, you're gay, so you're playing a gay character. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Your actors act. Aiming to include one character from each of the following categories in speaking roles, with minimum 50% of those to be women. Minimum! LGBTQI+, person with a disability, and 3 regionally underrepresented race, ethnic, cultural groups. A single character can fulfill one or more of these identities. I mean, this is literally box ticking. Seeking at least 3 bids from vendors or suppliers on productions, one of which must be from a woman-owned business, and one from a minority-owned business. Well, just get the ones which are the right fit. I mean, if they're from a woman, that's great. Cool. And if they're not, then maybe the woman that missed out, with a woman-owned business, she can do better next time. I mean, that's... What? Pay equity across casting, behind the camera staff and crew. for vendors and suppliers. Fuck, this is just ridiculous. I hate this. Awful, ladies and gents. So, expect Amazon Prime to go down. You thought Lord of the Rings was bad? Nah, it's going to get worse. The BBC's in a shambles in the UK for a reason, and she just been promoted. That reason's just been promoted. What a joke.